this is Chidike Samuelson, aka Sir Victory, and I'm just here to tell you to like, comment, and subscribe to the Creative Converse podcast. Do this now.
Hello and welcome to Creative Converse for this week. My name is JC Miracle and I am your favorite host. And today in the studio I have my friend, a film producer, film director, musical artist, music producer, fast-growing record label in the heart of Enugu, heart of Southeast Nigeria. And I won't forget, a lawyer. So ladies and gentlemen, it's a pleasure and privilege to have Barrister Chidike Samuelson in the studio today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure to be with you.
So having gone through these routes, both the Lego and the creative phases of your life, what has it been like?
Well, it's been a journey. In Nigeria, growing up, especially in our age bracket, you're either a doctor, an engineer, or art, you're a lawyer. If not, you're not intelligent. Okay. So there was this. That was the mindset we had. So I've always been a creative, right from when I was a child. I always knew that I had that passion towards the creative arts, creativity, music, filmmaking, and all of that. I started from stage drama before I entered into film. So I always knew that was there, but the pressures, and it wasn't my parents actually. My parents actually didn't pressure any of us to pick, but just the societal pressure of So I ended up studying law, which has been a blessing in its own way. However, through that journey, while I was undergoing that journey, I knew that this is not the path I'm going to invest my life into ultimately, because I always knew I was going to circle back to the creative arts. So I studied law. There's an experience I had when I was studying law. Towards my final year, there was this period where all my classmates were just having a conversation. There was no lecturer in class, so everybody was talking about their visions and what they wanted to do. This one was saying, first 15 years I must be a son. This one said, first I'm aiming for magistrate in the first 10 years, then law judge, and then everybody was talking. Then asked me, you uncle. I started thinking, it dawned on me that none of them, I had no desire for any of those things whatsoever. So that was kind of a check in my mind, bro. While you're pursuing this, make sure you don't forget what your passion is. So, that was the journey. Finished law, practiced for a while, and started in the film industry little by little. And here we are today. So, that's the journey.
You just reminded me something. I remember my primary 6, UNICEF came to our school then. I don't know if they still do it now. They were asking every young child what they want to be. And they got to me, I told them I wanted to be a terrorist. It was...
And you've lived through to that.
And I won't lie to you, my sincere model was Osama bin Laden.
That's serious.
Yeah. So when the woman asked me why, I said, I just want to dissolve the leaders and bring in new ones. But fortunately for me now, I'm a terror behind screens. So anybody that knows that I'm stubborn knows I am. So I think I've been living to my vision.
That's why I said you've been living to it.
But then, the chaos of creative industry.
Yeah.
Every single person shares a burden, one hurt, one pain. What is the most difficult time?
So in terms of my burdens,
yeah,
I think I have two major things that concern me, two major things that drive my creativity. One of them is I love creating opportunities. And I feel like the industry, especially in the Nigerian industry, is not very big on creating new opportunities, especially generally, both in the music space, both in the film space. We're not very big on creating new opportunities. We are very big on leveraging already existing names. So big names. Before your film goes anywhere, who are the names in the film? Who are the big faces? Before your music goes anywhere, who did you feature? Who are the names? So we're so big on leveraging what already exists. So we're not very good at giving opportunities to people who are skilled, talented, and who are coming up, whether in film and in music. So for me, that's one of the things that drives me, one of the things that I want to be able to do. I also have, how do I say, a pet peeve. For me, it's something that annoys me a little. the concentration of power in one geographical space, Lagos. Everything creative has to be in Lagos. You have to go to Lagos to make it. You have to go. I went for a meeting in Lagos some 2 years ago. I went for a meeting of young filmmakers. So I went there. Everybody that came for the meeting were from Lagos. I was the only person that came from outside of Lagos. And what made me laugh was the fact that they assumed everybody was from Lagos. But I asked the question. I said, you made a post on social media. You asked young filmmakers together. You don't say young filmmakers in Lagos. You just said young filmmakers. But somehow you assume that the only person seeing your post is in Lagos. So there's this, they're in a world of their own where they feel like nothing is happening outside of there.
Yeah.
So after my contributions in the meeting, many of them were, when I said I was from Enugu, they were like, how? Someone called me aside and said, with this kind of knowledge, you have to come to Lagos or you won't make it. I said, we will see. We will see. So those are some of the things. I like the availability of opportunity instead of concentrating it around a certain group, a certain place, or a certain area. So for me, one of the visions and the burdens I have is to be able to decentralize opportunity in the filmmaking space, and the music space, and the creative space as a whole. Give young people that have dreams the ability to attain those dreams. So for me, that's one of the
I know my senior friends will not like this.
Yeah.
But I am not one of those persons who dances around celebrities.
Yeah.
I don't believe in celebrity acting my film for it to sell. I am not disregarding that they've labored to be where they are.
They have.
But the point is, with the outrageous amounts these people make now in the name of film, you call a celebrity and he's giving you not just quotations, he's giving you conditions. And then in these conditions, to be sincere, I have not heard one mention medicals. Conditions has always been about, who am I acting with? If you're not bringing this person, exactly, I am not acting that role. And I think it's time we start speaking up about it, because it happened to me in Lagos. A friend of mine wanted to produce and asked me to call a celebrity for him. And I did. Oga started giving me terms and conditions. One even had the guts to tell me that he needs a girl,
wow,
as his assistant for the production, and I should understand what he means.
Interesting.
So, if recently Mary Remi Joko just did an audition in Enugu and some other part of Nigeria, I prayed that these young people will actually be given that opportunity, because these so-called celebrities, because yes, we know the genuine people in the industry and these trashes around have yet kept the opportunities.
It's a major problem. It's a major problem that we face. The truth is, I often say give honor to whom honor is due. Many of these people have worked their way up. They've made a name from them. So they started from nothing and gotten to where they are. Good, amazing. However, how can our industry grow if we have the same crop of people that we had 10 years ago still dominating the screens today? How are we supposed to grow? Are there no other people who are doing the same thing? Are there no other people who are coming up? And just like you said with the conditions, it's really annoying, because how do you expect me to call? So because the best way to give opportunities actually to up and coming people is to pair them in films with big people
with known faces.
But those big people many times will not want to act with someone that they don't know, or that is not already big, or that they've not acted with before. So in that way, the gatekeeping is too much. There's too much gatekeeping, and it becomes a serious issue in the industry. If we really want the industry to grow, you watch certain Hollywood films on Netflix with faces that you don't know, you've never seen before. That's the first time you're seeing them, and the film does well, breaks records, and then those people have entered into the sphere. So we have to come to that place where we begin to prioritize opportunities, leveraging opportunities. If not, we won't last very long.
Another funny fact is that some of these faces in Hollywood, it is even when you see them in a pronounced movie, you now go back to do a background check and discover that this person has done
many films before.
So it sells them out.
Exactly.
Like the lady that acted the Dragon Queen in Game of Thrones, to be sincere, I don't
never
know
seen
her
before.
from Adam.
Exactly.
The only thing that introduced me to her was seeing a scene where she had a hot bath.
Yeah.
And I was like, this person that is this fair and bathing in hot water, maybe to maintain the color. When I now browsed her name and I saw, wow,
You now saw her works.
she
You
has,
saw she
and
has been
she's
there
even
for a
part of
long
the
time.
writers.
Oh wow.
So you now get that. Why are we now it's forcing young people? You're not having people mimic Olujekob, mimic Chiwetalago,
Exactly.
mimic Osofia,
Exactly.
and there is no fresh
There's
energy.
no originality. Yeah.
I watched at Okwa that Osofia did with Mama G back 2002, 2003. If I put that film today, I will see somebody that was willing to take that role, acting the same thing.
Exactly the same thing.
And sometimes I used to think, if actually these celebrities had interest of younger people, because when you hear them talk in public, we are creating a project, you would think it's true. If they actually had interest in grooming a generation after them, why are they not organizing master classes? Why are they becoming producers to be in front of the camera all the time?
Exactly.
Because virtually every celebrity you know today has a production company.
Exactly.
Not to disrespect anybody, but it is now causing issues.
Yeah.
The last time we had Kanayo Okanayo dragging Angelu Nigo online. For me, as much as what he was saying was valid and very, very tactical in the industry, he was so condescending that a father in his figure was coming for. Angel was barely 20. So some of these things are my concern. And again, the charges brings me to a particular trending issue online currently. Why are we not coming the route of percentage and profit negotiations? Why have we not come to that point? Because it is so obvious Nigeria will never come to that standard in Hollywood where a DP knows this is what he earns, an actor of A level knows this is what he earns, an A level actor in Lagos is not charging the same thing an A level actor in Enugu is charging. So there is no uniform price.
Yeah.
So as a producer, I'm left to negotiate my life out, even if it has to eat my entire production budget, to get somebody to the screen. And then when eventually come, the terms that would disturb your set are there. Why have we not started the reasoning, or what's your take on that? That we start negotiating percentage and profit sharing in film.
It's a typical Nigerian mindset, and it's not just in the entertainment space. A typical Nigerian man would rather own 100% of nothing than 10% of 10 billion. So we are so big on owning it. It's my own. It's my film. I made it. I produced it. I directed it. I wrote it. I did everything. If I was, I've seen films where someone wrote the film, you produced it, you directed it, you are the cinematographer in the film. I'm like, Oga, calm down.
And it's marketed and distributed by you.
By you. I'm like, what is the problem? You know, I learned something years ago. I used to be someone that wants to learn everything. You know, I'm learning cinematography, I'm learning this, I'm learning script writing, I'm learning. One day I was praying. The Holy Spirit told me, see, find people that can do it and pay them. People will not be hungry while you are doing everything. Find people that can do it and pay them. When we now talk about percentage sharing, we are going a step too far. Now, these are things that the organizations themselves should handle, the AMPRAC and the rest of them should tackle. But in Nigeria, in many cases, certain celebrities are bigger than these institutions.
Another problem.
They are bigger than the institutions.
And that problem on its own.
Yeah. So when you are trying to bring in such definite changes, it will only apply to the young person who is trying to come up, and if it doesn't really apply in Nigeria, because it's the same mentality that leads our politicians. It's the same thing. So we have to come to that place where, because this is what happens when you give people a percentage of a work. That person takes ownership of that work. That person knows this is our work. Many times when you call crew members to your sets to shoot a film, or you call instrumentalists to your studio to play music or something for an album or whatever, sometimes you have someone on your set and he's in another set at the same time. He's in 3 different sets at the same time.
Yeah.
You go on break, he disappears to the next set and goes and sets up lights and comes back and he sets you waste time. You go, where is this person? Where is this person? You're looking for the person. These people don't have any ownership. They're just artisans. And the more we keep presenting these people as just artisans, there is no ownership. They will always be giving you the bare minimum. The commitment to be reduced. So we have to come to that place where we are willing to let go of certain percentages of ownership, so that we have greater collaboration.
Well, having spoken with some like minds,
Yeah.
I feel one of the greatest fears of Nigerians when it comes to collaboration is actually in keeping to the contracts.
Yeah.
Because currently we have Messi Chinwan,
Yeah.
easy concepts trending, and
Yeah.
it's disheartening. It's disheartening because it's happening within Christians.
Yeah.
But come on, this thing happens in every other sector. I keep saying it, creative industry has no religion of faith.
Yeah.
It doesn't regard beliefs. So, but then this is trendy because Christians
Yeah.
are in a way sentimental and emotional.
Yeah.
This is business.
Yeah.
If I call an artist, be it in film, in music, in visual art, even in digital art, and I bring you on board and you sign a contract, it is my obligation, which we know that no producer wants an artist to earn more than him. It's very simple. It's a norm, both here and wherever is obtainable. Now, for these fears, a lot of persons don't. One, they are not sure if this thing will sell to pay that percentage you're talking about, because it is part of the work that is required. Why most films that are good has not sold out in Nigeria is that because nobody has put personal commitment to every work, which contract should rule. And talking about organizations, I don't want to be sincere, I have wanted to drag especially AGNs that will come and tell me this is their artist on my set, and because this did not happen, they should withdraw their artist, and there is no plan scheme. I like the fact that Emeka Rolas is doing his bit, but we are not there.
I'm not there yet.
We are not there. So what are the obtainable rights to these things? Coming from the Lego arm, what are entertainment laws that are obtainable in the creative society and creative economy of Nigeria as of today?
Well, there are many aspects to that question. It's a multifaceted question, because when you talk about entertainment laws, we can talk about copyright, we can talk about censorship, we can talk about contract law, and I think what we're dealing with primarily now is contract law.
Yeah.
Contract law is all encompassing. It goes beyond the creative. It's basically the same law that guides both the creative space and every other. There is no court of law will exempt you because you're in a creative space. It's the same contract laws that binds in Nigeria, generally speaking, and it's also on all fours with almost the same contractual laws anywhere in the world. One of the things with contracts, if we're a country that doesn't respect contracts. We're a country that doesn't respect contracts because we have a social media space where violence rules. I can drag somebody. So as long as I can drag somebody, I feel like I can circumvent contracts. I had an experience where I was at the assistant director on a film, many years ago, and we had, I wouldn't name her, one of the top actresses.
I think I know.
In Nigeria. We had her on set. The film was shot partly in Nigeria, partly in the US. Had her on set for the US shot, stayed in the US for 3 months and all of that, shot the film and all of that. Now, part of the things you signed was that you are going to be active in the promotion of the film. This is something you signed in the contract. Then it comes to the time of release, and then nothing. We have to beg you. We are begging you. Trying to reach you is hard. And then I think on the day of the premiere, he just made a post. It is this thing day. Bam. That was all. But this is something that was signed. Now, because there's an assumption that you won't take them to court. Why would you spend that money taking them to court? Do you understand?
Yeah.
But many times in all of these contracts, we have a clause that talks about conflict resolution. In the event of a conflict, this is how we will resolve that conflict. And in many contracts, we don't readily put courts because the court system is very, so we have maybe a multi-door resolution system, or we have an alternate dispute resolution system. We just have mediation where we just say we'll go before this person and then this person will settle it, right? So we have all of these things in place. The law is not the problem. The problem is that we are a people that don't respect or don't know the law. We don't know it or we don't respect it. If you talk about copyright laws, for instance, I release a film, I post it on Facebook. I say, wow, my film has dropped. Maybe it's on YouTube, maybe it's on there. And the person sends me a link. Comments on there, send me a link to download. I'm like, I don't understand. So I spent millions to make a film.
For you to download it.
For you to download it from a backdoor link. And you see that these people actually don't know that this is. So it's ignorance and it's a lack of respect for the law. When we talk of contracts, for instance, maybe a record label contract, maybe a contract you sign with a film producer. we have to understand, like you said, this is business. And why in business we give you an offer and you accept or you reject it.
Simple.
So you can't accept and then renege later down the road. Now the truth is that with record labels, there are some record labels that are exploitative. Their terms are exploitative. Their record labels, I want to collect 80% and give you 20%, collect 90% and give you 10%. There are record labels that are very exploitative, and that is another case. But even in those cases, if a contract is placed before you, you are to sign it before a witness. You are signing with a witness, and typically you should have your own lawyer as well present. Many times your lawyer acts as your witness. So you have to look at that contract. If you accept those terms and sign and receive the consideration or whatever it is those people are doing for you, you are bound by that contract. So we have to come to that place where we don't just resort to social media and say, hey, we go and drag this person, because the truth is, if that thing ends up in court, you will pay through your nose. You will pay through your nose to settle those things. So we have to come back to the place where, like the illustration you gave with the Mercy Chinwo situation, I'm a fan of Mercy Chinwo. I love her music. But if, going by the things I've seen online, if you are demanding for the masters to your work, was that part of the contract? Every record label owns the masters to the music. It's almost like when I bring an artist to an actor to come and act for me. It's my film.
Sure.
We have to understand, now this is my story. I bring you, you're the face. All my films, I don't show in them. I'm not an actor, right? I'm a director, I'm a producer. So I will show in the film. Doesn't make it not to be my film. The fact that you are the one whose face is being seen,
it
is still my film because you are employed. If you go to advanced countries, record labels, in many cases, most of the artists don't even write their songs. The record labels have songwriters on staff. So what we need is your voice. We need your talent. That's all. Come perform it. So come and create this work for us and we will share profit with you. That's what it is. But when you come to the Christian space, this is why we have a challenge. So there is this thing, in most cases, especially in the Nigerian Christian space, the song is written by the artist.
Yeah.
And so because the song is written by the artist, and there's the sentimentality of the Lord gave me this song. So because the Lord gave me this song, if the Lord gives you a song and you want to own it, there are two routes to get people to listen to your stuff. Go it alone or go through a record label. If you go it alone, but you can make it. You can push, you can struggle, and you can make it. A record label speed tracks you, makes it faster for you to get to the limelight, makes it faster for people to appreciate your work and your music. So if you go through that route, understand that these are the what comes with it. You can't come from being not known. A record label skyrockets you to international fame, and then you turn around and demand that they give you the masters.
While this Macy's case is trending, I'm seeing a lot of emotions playing the games.
Yeah.
And then you hear Nigerians say, she was already a Nigerian idol. To be sincere, I didn't know who Mercy Chinwo was until Easy Concept came into her life.
Most people didn't.
And if we want to deny that fact, she has her claims for the defrauding that she has been defrauded. Easy Concept equally has his claims that you evaded contract and took shows by yourself. Now, if you're going to actually go to court, why come to social media?
Yeah.
That was my concern. Yeah. If you were going to court, why come to social media to damage the image of a brand that made you?
Yeah.
Now, we don't want to accept this reality. It is a pain that we Nigerians most times don't like accepting the realities that are faced to us, even when it is glaring. That this artist, it is not pride to say, I made you.
Yeah.
Because sincerely, these people picked your talent, put down their instruments.
But as a gospel artist, it's God that made.
That is the point. Even Jesus was not famous until people started talking about him. So, if Easy Concept was not in this lady's life, I don't know, but I don't think she will be where she is today.
The fact is this, it's as Christians we have to come to this place where we understand these things. Now many people will tell you without easy concepts, I would still have been here. This is God's plan for me, which is true. If this is where God wants you to be, God will find another vessel if this vessel doesn't go. But still, that vessel is still the vessel God used.
We had vessels like Joe Praise.
Exactly.
Heaven speaks of your glory.
Exactly.
We had vessels like Steve Crown.
Exactly.
We had vessels like I know a couple of them that did single David G.
Yeah.
That did singles and vanished.
And
there was no record label, or the ones managing them were not
as strong.
Because to be relevant, a lot has to be done. The management of easy concepts alone is reducing unemployment in Nigeria.
Yeah.
And this is a business people are tearing down. It is paining me personally because I know what it means to see a young talent and go for it. I know the difficulties that come with this. One time we had a girl who the family wouldn't release for a film. And I wanted to shoot in Aba, all the way from Anambra. It took 3 weeks to convince the father. We had to shift production date. The interest is director Bob Justice said, I want this girl. Jesse, anything you have to do, I want this girl on set. And it wasn't like the girl was going to do so much, but she had the face. Recently, she was in part of her film. I think that was her introduction to film. She was there in Lost when we did Lost. She was there when we did, and she was still in test. And people will still come to my DM and say, she's not there yet. But there is work that has been done.
Yeah.
For every single song, even if you're the person God gave it to. About 70% of that song was construed, designed by external bodies.
Exactly.
You only had an inspiration.
Exactly.
So
where is an inspiration is a very small part of what makes a song.
Yes.
It's a very small part. As someone who writes songs myself, I have times you just have this thing, this is it. But by the time that work is done, it's so different. It's so different from the idea you had. Because many people have come together, brought their ideas, the producer, the instrumentalists, everybody has brought their ideas. So every artwork that comes out of there is a community work. It's done by a group of people. So that is why oftentimes it is this record label that brings these people together that owns the masters.
Yeah.
It can't be one person of that group that owns the masters. If you wanted to do it that way, go the route that is not record labels.
And then if you sign it, this is for every young artist out there. Just like Macy warned the young people in her program, before you sign anything, get a lawyer.
Yes, very important.
Let them interpret what you are signing. The first time I tried putting up a contract for young creatives in Anambra here for the Anawood program, all of them were running away from the contract. They couldn't.
Nigerians are afraid of contracts.
They didn't read.
We're afraid of contracts.
Why is he bringing contract? Why is he making us sign? I like sign it so that tomorrow if I arrest you, nobody will come and tell me.
We are very afraid of contracts.
So, in making this thing a more soluble situation, because I don't believe in creating chaos. Because what I'm seeing online is unnecessary chaos. I feel there are routes for these things to be resolved, but I might not know the legal routes. What routes could be in cases you find yourself here?
I think what we are lacking in Nigeria is education, legal education, basic legal education on some of these things. Because I don't think the contracts are self-sufficient. Within a contract is how to solve it if there is a conflict. I don't know if you understand. So there is not necessarily an external solution that can come in, because the contract in itself prefers the solution to conflict within the contract. So which is why, for instance, if you've been reading what's online, is saying we prefer the multi-door this thing and then, but they don't want to come. These people are saying, oh no. So we don't know the details. The truth is that we don't know the intricate details of what happens. But just speaking on face value based on what we know, what we need as Nigerians is education when it comes to contracts. You bring people for a film, you bring out contracts, they start running.
Yeah.
We are afraid of contracts. But the societies that we envy run by contracts. You see a film drops and you're seeing that all the actors in that film are going from state to state, the crew doing publicity, and you think that it's because they love the film so much. They signed it in a contract. It's part of what they were paid to do. So once they are paid, they are bound by law to carry it out. If not, you have to either refund or whatever the terms of or you lose many of your benefits. So I think if we have more education in these spaces. And I don't know which body. You know, if we're talking about the creative spaces, then I think it's this thing, the AGMs, the AMPRACs, and the rest of them that should educate people on the impact of contracts.
Does the Nigerian Constitution actually has a rule for entertainers, for the creative space, any laws?
We don't have any specific thing for entertainers. We have copyright laws that govern television media and all of that. We have the censorship laws that, like the censorship board and all of that, those bodies. But we don't have any law that is specifically for entertainment. So which is why I said it's the general contract laws of the country that still guide.
Because I think this is part of the reason why the bodies can't do anything. The bodies were established by acts and were not given certain authorities. Because it is in this country that somebody tells you, I'm a freelance filmmaker. You've heard it severally. So you can't stop his production, even if he's shooting an anti-constitutional story. The reason is, he's a freelance filmmaker. He has a right to association and right not to join. There is no law anywhere. There is no act.
There's no law that mandates
you to
associate with it.
Which is what makes these big names above the bodies.
Yeah, but I think, to be fair, the right to associate and not to associate is actually a problem internationally, not just in Nigeria. However, the institutions like Hollywood as an institution can make it so difficult for you to thrive if you don't associate. Do you understand? Not that you cannot do it without them. You can, but you go suffer. Do you understand? There are many bodies, people like Tyler Perry didn't start within Hollywood, but they started making their stuff on the outside. But eventually, for them to get to where they needed to go, they had to associate. So it's the same with Nigeria. We don't necessarily have laws that mandate you to associate with a certain thing for you to practice, especially in the entertainment space.
Because
in medical space and so many others, there are such rules. But in the creative space, there are no rules that mandate you to be part of these bodies.
Why I'm bringing these things up now is, when we did Playing Pretend, I had to travel to, I'm calling it travel now because currently from Oka to Onitsha is 2,000 something.
When you went for the censorship board?
Currently, from Oka to Onitsha is about 2,000. When I went for it then, it was about 800. And I know how many times I had to travel from Oka to get censorship. And then I used to ask this question, who censors songs?
The same body.
Do you know the funny thing?
The same body.
Some of the rubbish, I will say it clear and loud. For whatever reason, that song, nyashi na nyashi, nyashi na nyashi, should not be on any streaming platform. I don't care what the management thinks, but for whatever censor board that approved that lyrics, for a country that social media has no age bracket, currently we don't have any child content on social media. I am seeing it and I'm crying out about it. You give another 8-child phone, he's exposed or she's exposed to every single content that is not rated. I can't remember the last time I saw movies that are rated 18 in Nigeria. How many films, even in the cinema houses, forget the illustrations they paint out there, has actually gone through censorship? The reason is, there are people you can sort out. Censorship boards, Mr. Dr. Victor Akai, when I knew him, were hammered on so many things that he said that till date, when I met Mr. Hubert here, he equally complained of some of them that I have still not seen. How do we curtail some of this?
I don't think there's much attention in the creative industry for Nigeria, and it's a problem. I don't think the government or the legislators are thinking about it. I don't think they are thinking about it because we have, take for instance, the censorship board with the internet. The censorship board's powers have been drastically cut because the internet has democratized access to music, both releasing it and listening to it. So now we have streamers. The censorship board has no control over streamers because it's a Nigerian board, so it can't control the streamers which are international. The best they can do is through government is maybe to restrict those streamers from having access in Nigeria, right? But so because of the internet, it has made everything accessible. Like you said, it's a problem. It's a very big problem because now I can jump all those. But no, but you remember when we were much younger when though that was a bad example of censorship when Nigeria Jaga came out.
Yeah.
The censorship board banned it because they said it was anti-government, right? But because at that time the only place your music can play is radio stations and TV stations, they were able to ban it, right? But now where your music is playing on the internet, their powers are drastically reduced. So unless the government looks more closely into the creative economy, to be fair, the government has tried in the creative economy by providing but they have not, in the terms of regulation, not much work has been done. So I really think that's something, but it's something that we have to push for as a body, because as it is now, there are not many rules that guide the creative space in Nigeria. There are not many rules at all. We just have rules that, like censorship, copyright, that just govern, the general this thing, but not as per, like you have that guides medicine, that guides engineering, that guides this. We don't have such things for the creative space, and I think it's something that is grossly lacking. And one thing you mentioned about children's this thing, if you go to certain countries, they are very specific on limiting certain kinds of content for children. That's why before you upload something on YouTube, you have to specify if it's made for children or if it's not. Because they want to be careful to show children what is age appropriate. In Nigeria, it's a feast. Anybody can come and take anything. So these are massive loopholes that still need to be closed, in the entertainment space and creative space in Nigeria. And as long as they remain open, we'll continue to suffer, all of these negatives.
All right, thank you very much about that. So this is a call to the bodies in Nollywood, because there is no other industry. It is just one Nollywood.
Yeah.
Whether you want to do content creation, because somebody argued the last time, content creators are not registered.
They are not.
They are
not seen as filmmakers.
Nobody is governing them. That is the most painful part of it. Nobody is governing them, and this is limiting the restrictions that are supposed to be put in place. It's not just about celebrities coming out to say no to piracy, say no to this, say no to that.
Piracy is a culture.
It is. But then it's time to wake up. It's a wake-up call to the creative regulation councils, to the censorship boards, Directorate of Nollywood Business. Let an act come in place. I heard there are some being pushed out already. House of Assembly, House of Representatives. Let us have what? Because truth is, our generation will soon become adults. What your generation could not achieve for us, we will still fight to avoid our children being in the same chaos. Yeah. So please, let the bodies rise up and speak up against these things. Let the arts be enacted. Thank you very much, and once again, don't forget to follow and like us on Creative Converse on all social media, and send us an email in areas you want us to discuss. Thank you so much for all the comments we are seeing. We are seeing them, and very soon we're going to be shouting out to our top participants. Thank you very much.